Welcome to Tusi TV. This is your global news channel. I'm Maya Tusi, and tensions rise between the state of Israel and the Islamic Republic of Iran. Over the last few hours, we've had a lot of confrontation between the IRGC's Hezbollah wing and also the Israelis. The Israeli Air Force have been hitting Lebanon, as we've been reporting earlier on. If you haven't watched that live stream, go there later after this one. And we now have confirmation that that Israel managed to assassinate an IRGC official. We also have the Islamic Republic of Iran, who have now hijacked a tanker, an oil tanker, and kidnapped 16 foreign nationals. We're going to give you guys all the update, and we're going to get your reaction live in the chat as usual. First things first, what happened today is not rare. It's happened before, but it's clearly linked to everything that's been going on both in and around the Persian Gulf as well as in Venezuela. So the Islamic regime of Iran have hijacked a foreign oil tanker near the Iranian island Qeshm. This is in the Persian Gulf. They claim that it was carrying 4 million liters of fuel. 16 foreign crew members have now been kidnapped by the Iranian regime, and there is absolutely, at this point, no real coverage by the broadcast mainstream media globally. There's some news websites have reported this, but not really in terms of the broadcasters, which is absolutely shameful. We are still trying to get more information about the nationality of these crew members of the vessel, but the indication is that this was international, so there were people from different nationalities on the vessel, but we will get more information on that. Let's just go to the video we received from the Iranian state TV from the moment of the hijacking, apparently. So this is what the Islamic Republic's state TV proudly broadcast earlier on, and obviously they are trying to replicate what the Americans are doing around Venezuela, but obviously this is it's slightly illegal, to say the least, slightly unlawful, at least internationally speaking. So in terms of the details, the cargo, valued at over $5.2 million, which is about 7,000 billion riyals, which is quite a lot, has been confiscated by the Islamic government in Iran. Both Arabs and the Iranian regime are increasing their presence around the Persian Gulf. Things are escalating very quickly, and this time the Americans are not even involved, or the Israelis, when it comes to this situation. Of course, we're going to go to the conflict between Israel and the IRGC in a second, but the Arabs, especially UAE, are very much on standby because they are terrified of what the Islamic Republic could do in the Persian Gulf. And obviously there's been a lot of bluffs by the Iranian regime in terms of blocking the Strait of Hormuz and this and that. But going to the situation with the Israeli Defense Forces, the military have now confirmed that they have successfully eliminated a member of the Islamic Republic of Iran's Quds forces outside of Beirut. We have a video. This is from the IDF, the moment of the attack, when the IRGC member was assassinated. We are trying to get more information about the identity as well, which there will be a statement later on, so keep an eye on that. But this comes at the same time as the escalation in Lebanon, because over the last few hours the Israelis have been hitting Hezbollah and the IRGC in Lebanon. Again, we explained that in the previous live stream anyway, but all this goes back to the fact that the Iranian regime somehow still managed to smuggle weapons, equipment and money to Lebanon to give to Hezbollah, even though the Lebanese government are supposed to be keeping an eye on the cargo and everything else that is shipped towards their country. But just as a reminder, this is the footage that we received earlier on from the IDF attacks on Hezbollah and the IRGC. Let's go. So, now, in terms of the reaction from the Islamic Republic, we did mention again in the previous report when we were talking about the IDF operation in Lebanon, but the Iranian regime are escalating by relocating their air defense systems. These are the short-range air defense systems in the country, because they believe that there will be an imminent attack by Israel or by the US or by both. I think that it will be just Israel, not the US. But Netanyahu will be visiting the White House in 3 days' time, 2 days' time, I think, and to present the plan of attack on Iran to President Trump. But the latest video that we received is the Iranian regime's air defense system, the short range, that is supposed to be stopping drones, and they always fail. That one. Now, the Islamic Republic are struggling to keep control of the situation inside the country as well as the outside. So what they have now been doing over the last few days, weeks and months is a massive crackdown on Iranian people. Specifically, because it's Christmas, there's been a massive crackdown on Christians, which is obviously now the fastest growing religion in Iran. You're not allowed to convert because it's a little bit illegal, it's a little bit haram, and so obviously that still goes on, but we do have some worrying updates from inside the country. 5 Iranian Christians have now been sentenced to together 50 years, so 10 years each in prison for what the Iranian regime calls propaganda and collusion for practicing Christianity, such as prayer to Jesus Christ and baptism, and for distributing Bibles and Christian literature. So over 50 years together, their crime is Bible distribution, talking about faith in Jesus Christ, and running what they call in Iran house churches, because the underground movement of Christianity in Iran is based on people having house churches, literally turning their houses into churches, and people quietly go in. It's sort of like the early 20th century in New York, when alcohol was illegal and people were having underground parties with booze. But this is happening in Iran with Christianity. At the same time, the Islamic Republic sits on the United Nations Human Rights Council, which makes no sense. Why are they part of a Human Rights Council when they don't actually believe in basic human rights? But there have also been a major crackdown recently as well. We had 3 Christian converts that started their 2-year prison sentences because they were involved with spreading Christianity. Pray for Hannah Golami, Daniel Mohammadi, and Taimur Hosseini, who I believe Taimur was actually originally an Afghan in Iran. They are now serving a prison sentence for at least 2 years for being Christian. It's fascinating, the propaganda in Iran, because the Islamic Republic this year have allowed Christmas lights and Christmas trees and some shops could have Christmas trees and stuff like that. And they've been posting videos of saying, look, in Iran, we can actually have Christianity. Like, we have Christmas trees here. We respect Jesus Christ, whatever. And but you're not actually allowed to practice it. So it's just for decoration. It's just for show to tell the world, look, there's a Christmas tree in Iran. Yep, that's not actually Christianity. That's just what they do for decoration. Of, look, this is around December. You know, we should put on some lights to tell the world that we allow pretty lights. At the same time, obviously imprisoning Christians. There was many other crackdowns recently. We had the undercover police raiding a Christian gathering of 80 Christians. This was in Mazandaran, in a garden. And the Christian convert, Somaya Rajabi, was arrested, and several Bibles were confiscated by the government and destroyed. Now, Somaya made a brief phone call to her family the next day, informing them that she's now in prison. That continued. We also had, of course, the Islamic regime in Iran sentencing Yasin Musavi to 15 years in prison for converting to Christianity. Again, especially if you were a former Muslim, that is very, very illegal in Islamic nations. So, or at least in the case of Iran, the Islamic occupation of Iran. So that's still going on. Let's get some reaction from you lovely, lovely human beings. Although we have Jeffrey here first, saying people are tired of your clickbait titles. Your numbers are dwindling fast. So, the title of the live stream: Israel assassinates Iranian regime official. Confirmed by the IDF. Also, they released the footage that we showed you. So, that's true. The IRGC kidnaps 16 civilians. That is also confirmed by the Iranian regime state TV, and they also released the footage that we showed you, and the statement as well. So that's the title of the video, and the thumbnail of the video also says that IRGC kidnapped 16 foreign nationals, which again confirmed by the Islamic Republic state TV. Both the title and the content of the live report, as usual, obviously are connected directly. We never have a title. That's actually, I think people don't know the definition of clickbait. Clickbait means, to make it simplified, you, for example, have a title saying we're going to talk about ice cream, and then when you click on the video, you're talking about a piece of bread. That's clickbait. What most people say when they say clickbait, what they really mean is lie. Because they say, for example, if I have a title saying the IRGC killed 2 Christians, right? And I talk in the actual video about the IRGC killing 2 Christians, the title is not clickbait, because the title is the same as the content. What you can then say, Maya is lying, the IRGC did not kill 2 Christians, right? But obviously, every time we have a report, we give you guys the actual evidence. And there have been mistakes. We have made mistakes, especially during breaking news. Chaos happens. Usually tends to be, for example, show you a photo and we think it's from now, but it's from yesterday, because it's always from 2 hours ago, because it's chaotic. That happens all the time, but we always obviously correct it afterwards, something that the BBC don't do. Anyway, so yeah, this is the actual definition of clickbait, which some people might not understand. Although Jeffrey has a photo of Einstein in his profile picture, which is quite ironic, because Jeffrey doesn't seem to be that intelligent. Daniel from the State of Israel says, oops, what can I say? The IRGC official was wearing very assassinatable clothing. He was asking for assassinatable clothing. Look at that Einstein MF. Name is Jeff Epstein. Look, terrorist. Yeah, I just realized the surname as well. It took me a while to actually realize. Yep, Jeff Epstein. Yep, got it. When did this happen? So the hijacking of the vessel was reported earlier on, so earlier today. They said it was 26th of December. The assassination was last night of the IRGC, which the The Israeli Defense Forces have now released the footage and the information about it. So since last night, since yesterday, obviously the Israelis have been hitting Lebanon, both the Hezbollah wing and also the IRGC's Quds forces as well. So that's been it's been a busy day or busy couple of days for the Israelis on that front. Dan says, somebody needs to tell Tucker about the Christian oppression in Iran because he apparently doesn't believe in it. You can't believe in something when someone is paying you to not believing it. So when the state of Qatar or the Islamic Republic pays allegedly influencers to say something, or for example, to be objective, if for example Mossad or Israel were to pay influencers to say something, but if those influencers don't actually believe in anything, they don't have a side, right? They just, they just say whatever someone pays them. Then that makes sense. Those who are believers. So, for example, if you're passionately pro IRGC, or if you're passionately pro freedom, like me, I support people in Iran, the Iranian people and the Israelis, and the lovely Lebanese people, for example. Somaliland, go Somaliland. But you can't really pay. You don't need to pay me, for example. So Israel doesn't have to pay me because I'm doing it for free, basically. That's what I mean. Or, for example, the Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, doesn't need to pay me. Usually those who say things after getting paid, they are vacant already. They don't need to, they can't believe in anything. And because if they're already, for example, pro-Qatar, Qatar doesn't need to pay them. And if they're anti-Qatar, if they're a normal human being, they can't be paid. Usually those who are just vacant and they're just grifters, that's easy. You just pay them and you say whatever they want to say. Vinny says, just troll the troll, don't explain. Yeah, but I'm trying to be nice now. Come on, I'm trying to be nice. And but I'm nice, I come across as dry, sarcastic as well, so it doesn't really work when I'm trying to just explain it. It's patronizing. I do like my patronizing tone as well. I'm quite proud of it. Blue Sapphire says, TCTV, do you think we should prepare for escalation here in Israel, considering how fast the IRGC is moving with rocket production? How long do you think before S hits the fans? So, basic geopolitics, or the very, very modern history of geopolitics, basically of the last few years. It is highly, highly unlikely that the Islamic Republic of Iran would attack Israel randomly. It's a controversial statement, right? But the IRGC hate Israel. They always say we want to wipe out Israel. They tend not to come across as directly attacking Israel. So every time the Iranian regime hit Israel, there was an excuse, right? It was retaliation or it was revenge or whatever. They tend to do it indirectly, usually through proxies. They get Hamas or Hezbollah to do something. So the IRGC directly themselves, before Israel or the US had done anything, they're not really going to attack. Again, I'm not saying this to the leadership of the IDF because they shouldn't take this advice. Everybody should always be on standby. But between us, civilians, it's highly unlikely that directly they would do anything. But they are preparing everything. They are preparing their missile productions and everything else. They're mobilizing their troops. But the moment, obviously, Israel hits, the IRGC will hit back. The problem here is that the state of Israel doesn't have any other choice but to hit Iran. If not in January, in February. If they don't, then what I said, that the Iranian regime is probably not going to attack first, if you leave the Iranian regime alone, just leave it alone, right? Let them just rebuild everything. The Islamic Republic is falling apart from within, especially the moment Khamenei, the supreme leader, eventually dies. It's going to be chaos. At that point, the new leadership of the IRGC will be desperate. And out of desperation, anything could happen. Out of desperation, if they know they are about to sink and drown, they would metaphorically press the red button to try to wipe out Israel. Because that's the only promise that they made since 1979. So, unless Khamenei dies tomorrow and escalation happens, the falling out in Iran, it's unlikely that the IRGC would hit first. But the IRGC will hit the moment Israel hits. So this time round, the IDF and the government in Israel will have to be fully prepared. They should have a proper plan, because this can't just be another slap the other one and the other one's going to slap you back. You can't do that because the Iranian regime have now also warmed up. After what they did in Tel Aviv with their missiles, they could do worse. Obviously, Israelis are not stupid. They've been working on improving their air defense systems as well. But the Iranian regime got a little bit arrogant because they managed to hit a few of the targets, civilian residential areas in Tel Aviv. The escalation would probably happen, but it will be actually Israel starting it. But it's not Israel starting a war, because the war already started on October 7th, 2023. But in terms of now, it will be Israel hitting first. It has to. And then let's see what the Iranian regime do in return. Daniel says, I'm in the IDF. I am paying Maya right now. No. The IDF don't pay me. Mossad pay me. IDF are running out of money. Come on. Blue Sapphire, the answer is 3.5 years. But in terms of the escalation, I don't know. It's all about when Khamenei dies. Can the Iranians say hallelujah instead? Not bad. Not too bad. Tusi, I think Starmer is moving the UK into the EU again. Yeah, that happened a year ago. Obviously unofficially, but we are back in the EU based on the new treaties that we've signed, but without officially being a member. But the plan was this anyway. The plan was from the EU globalist side. When they realized they can't stop Brexit, the UK leaving the EU, they realized, okay, so what we can do is wait for the Tories to go out, wait for the Labour government to get in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to basically create this new relationship, which is really messed up. It doesn't work for anybody. It doesn't work for the UK. It doesn't work for the EU. The new relationship is based on, you're not a member, you've done your Brexit, but okay, let's sign this treaty to help with students, right? We have the Students Exchange Program. It's just, there's nothing wrong with it. That's what they say. And then let's do another treaty for agriculture. Let's do another treaty for other products. Let's do another treaty for freedom of movement for young people, younger professionals. Slowly, they keep signing these treaties, and they've been doing it. And they also got the UK into the European Union Defence, the EU Defence Union, which is the EU Army, unofficially. The plan is and was to essentially say, okay, now after a few years of this mix and match relationship between the UK and the EU, nobody's happy. What if we just take the UK officially back in the EU? You see all the benefits, you've signed all these treaties, but you're not getting everything. You need to be a full member. And that's what they want to do. So unless something changes quickly in the next few years in terms of governments in the UK, yes, we will officially be a member again. For now, it's an unofficial member. Blue Sapphire says, I think a big problem is also America. Last time, the only reason Israel stopped was because the US pressure. Let's not forget, that's on the surface. What happens when it comes to geopolitics is it's not like a TV show or a movie, and it's not necessarily like it's more like even your social circle, your friendship groups, or your relatives. Just because somebody says something doesn't necessarily mean it's that. It's not necessarily lying, but it's not always what it seems on the surface. I'm not saying that America did nothing wrong, for example, but what they tell you on the surface, both, for example, Netanyahu and Trump, in terms of the reason we just decided to do this or that is, for example, this. Because you can't do that in geopolitics. You can't show your cards. They can't show it to me, they can't show it to you, Blue Sapphire, and they can't show it to their enemy, the Iranian regime. So if it's the same, for example, with what Trump did. Trump, a few weeks before the war started, he was going around for banter. I know what he was doing at the time. Everybody was outraged, but I knew exactly what he was doing. He started going around randomly saying, instead of saying Persian Gulf, he started saying Arabic Gulf, or Arabian Gulf. And oh my God, the Iranians had a meltdown. Not the Iranian regime, the Iranian people. The pro-Trump Iranian people saying, what did Trump do? Oh no, he's a traitor. I was like, yeah, he's not supposed to be triggering you. He's triggering them. But you need to be triggered for it to be believable. And of course, that was the whole point. He triggered the Islamic Republic, and there was a lot of distraction at the time. And then he went back saying, yeah, you know, we could keep it Persian Gulf. Obviously, it's nothing to do with Trump. You can't rename the Persian Gulf. That was literally to distract what was about to happen. On the issue of the clickbait, I think, yes, I hate those titles, but your explicit description is legit. So as I said, I'm just going to do it again, Vinny. I know you're not going to like it, but I have to be patronizing. Israel assassinates Iranian regime official. That's in the title of the video. We showed you the evidence, and the Israelis confirmed that they assassinated an IRGC official in Lebanon. IRGC kidnapped 16 civilians. Again, we also showed you the evidence. The title is 100% accurate to the content and to the truth as well, the actual facts. And so I'm not really sure what you're talking about. I try my best to be nice. Come on, I was supposed to, but some people don't help. Now, Marsha says, F Iran's colonizer government. Yeah, although the Iranian people do not call it Iranian government, Iran's government, but yeah, because they literally say an Islamic occupation, but it's just semantics. They're occupied Iran, but technically they are the government, as you know, as we know it. Anyway, there is a. So I'm surprised I haven't seen many hate comments so far about what I'm wearing tonight. Usually I get a lot of hate. For some time I used to have this the tumbler of Man United in the backdrop, and so many people unsubscribed, usually Liverpool supporters. But we got a game coming up in about 4 minutes, so I'm getting ready. Leave me alone. It's Christmas. It's not Christmas anymore, but it counts. Anyway, so we will wait for more information about the nationality of the international crew of the vessel that has been hijacked by the Islamic Republic, and of course the name of the Quds, IRGC Quds official in Lebanon who has now been assassinated by Israel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.